Based on its power, he can practice death as a medicinal product. The first time I saw him was not confident. I can't help but get a little worried. If you lose 7 games, why? Hear this word. Probably the most obvious in the eyes. Cold. If you say that, you can only steal it openly. It comes to my hand. The Emperor will pay attention to people. It's like a long dance has a chance to breathe. Long 9 is a little worried. For the safety of the most evil. One eye doesn't move a bit. Until then, you will face the pursuit of 3 great nations. That probably most people don't notice. I laughed and said that. Sooner or later you have to be the enemy. Take advantage of this opportunity, mess up their plans. I just need to attract the attention of Uncle BA. You can arrange a turn. It's good. They all looked at each other in horror. This person works decidedly. It's just to achieve the goal. He will not ignore any tricks. It's like taking a man's life in exchange for time. Preparation space for BA house. Normal people will not dare to take risks. Just because of an uncertain guess. The sword cannot be stopped. He praised the boy very well, very brave. Thank heaven. Young heard aggressive patting her on the shoulder. Nothing but in the eyes. Is to take the body of this brother deeply engraved. Suddenly, at this moment, a woman's voice boomed. Male to Tathong love. According to the cry, everyone turned their heads in amazement. They are in love with the book. What is it that the low-life loves? Except 149 reclining posts. At this time the old form master rushed to. Let people hold the right to speak. This young man is also a young man. I have already sinned against you. I hope you respect my face. Don't compare yourself to this child. Everyone was stunned to hear it. They're not here to discuss the book. Sow to mouth of long form holder. Again, the most expensive, pathetic. But right now everyone is smiling. Time for more water. Let's teach this guy a little bit. There's rarely such an opportunity that people should take advantage of, a little. Long 9 suddenly changed his face. Towards the greatest universal metric. Long dance star. There was a disciple who did not understand such a teaching. If it's not a long form, the owner arrives in time. The old man soon used a trick. This kid is dead. Kid, this time your little life seems to be saved. Not next time. He finished his words and quickly left. If not, this boy will be angry. In this way, Young also pretended to be angry. Go to the side, squeeze her Y shoulder. He smiled and warned the boy to be careful. Next time I will not let you go. You have to know that your beauty is better than yours. I have just called you to Lao Tzu. You are going to climb high, ha ha ha. Even the dragon devil didn't miss this opportunity. Go in front of the devil. What are you looking at? In discontent, right? You're just a bummer, not like the lady. Then I see that there are 9 rules. Don't know how big or small. There is no teacher. Everyone just went to the most angry and trembling. Rays of anger appeared on his face. That's great. What kind of fraternity is this? Take this opportunity to take advantage of your comfort. Even the devil is willing to take revenge. If there's not a long dance here, give them a fight. Waiting for everyone to leave at the same time. New multi-knit pepper breathed a sigh of relief to the side. Most likely laughing. That was too dangerous. I was fortunate to inform my master in time. Can I come to save you immediately? Even the most uncertain words are angry. This woman made him suffer. To be taken advantage of. You can die. He was finally impatient and cruel about her. Screaming furiously. Who called you to come? He screamed for an hour. Don is not from the stupor. She has a good intention to help you. I can't help but hide in my heart. Long-form owner saw this scene. In anger. Don't leave the jade. If you have the masteress back, you can bully my disciples. Just now, if not for Don to rush to me, then I don't care about your life and death. Men are not a good thing. What a beautiful thing. Conscience. Feed the dog. Let's go, man. Then he pulled his pathetic hand away. Don turned his head and looked at him. It is a pity to be blinded. Refused to comment. The form does not pay attention to. Waiting for you to leave. Most people turn their backs to the hall. In the mind of two books. Now is the best time to recline with the Department of Tendency. Get the Jade Translation Bodhi in exchange for the temporary piece of the long-standing. They don't lose money on this sale either. He will surely hold the jade in his hand. He smiled and went to the hall. Soon he arrived at the door of the dance hall. But the crowded form as before has disappeared. Only the lonely shadow of his back, of the Department of Tendency, kneeling there. Stupid to stupid. Most likely to see her. Go straight ahead. Go straight to the problem of the owner. I have something to tell you. This has something to do with the survival of the long term. I believe you will be interested. This moment. Most likely, the world has taken off its innocent teenage form, before that revealed a crooked smile. The eyes are unfathomable. No more than this time, the city is drowning in pain. A word she didn't hear. He didn't even answer a word. Most likely I didn't hear her answer, stunned looking at her. It's not. The road is heavenly. He is also the owner of a long dance. I can't stand this attack. Betrayed by a man. It could make her so desperate. The mind is too weak. But at least you have to give it to him. If not, it's only because of her weakness. Without gaining or losing. He looked at her. I can't help but think a little. If you had faced this situation before, he will definitely laugh. But now she needs something in her hands. Even more, if she encounters something, the long dance will surely collapse. Your plan will be like salt. Most likely, to hand swayed slightly towards her. Hard base long owner. Please wake up. Let me tell you how to save this world. I'm sure it won't make you 7. But the tendency is like a scattered soul. Dishonored in place. Only the corner of my eye shed a few tears. Prove that she is alive. Most likely, look at her condition. The surgeon sighed. The one who woke her up. It can only be herself. Then I thought about it for an hour. Billions of people have to be like that. Suddenly now, they tend to move one. In the eyes of the divine gradually restored muttered. What do you call me? I'm most likely to hear you turn your head. And then the Thai whispered with the phantom magic. In her ears, a billion. Wake up quickly. Just for a moment, the base tends to wake up completely awake. Turn your head to the surest side. Sweetie, it's you, thank you. Most likely, she woke up. I was immediately happy to laugh. You are good to wake up. Yes, I have something I want. But he hasn't finished yet. The police rushed to interrupt. No need to say. It doesn't matter now. It's been a long time coming this way. It's all my responsibility. We must do the last thing for a long peace. It's actually not completely. I blame you more for the long dance. It was as if I couldn't hear what he was saying. Then the police interrupted the jade. I don't know how you used to pull it. Find the long and sword servant. Hold on, give us one last chance. But without this opportunity. That's a long dance. There's really no final sanctity left. Okay, you don't have to say much. I understand. I know you want to comfort me. But that's not necessary. I think it through. It's now the opening day of the Bodhi. There's only a little time left. I hope you can help me with something. Take her words and hold her hand. Pull the most steady one circuit out. Pitiful, why many times wants Chun mouth and say. In the end, it's basically impossible to cross Chun. You can only let it be tempting. Right now, most of all, I can't help but look up at the sky laughing. Finally, when can I sit down with her? Adorable 150 HOA dance long peaches her. This is the most likely way to wear one. Go to the back of the room. Until standing in front of the wall, the mountain has just stopped. Looking towards the hidden cliffs that have energy. To bow down the procession with a loud voice. Student Ho Long dance. She begged me to meet you. She just finished. The ban in front of me was suddenly lifted. The cliff slowly opened. At the same time, there's an old sound inside. You are the owner of a long dance. You can enter this place at will. You have to tell me every time you come here. She laughed a soft laugh. You are the owner of this place. Even if it is the owner. I dare not ask to enter. She immediately pulled out the strongest hand. Go straight inside. Just came in. Probably not without a shake. This place is so cold. Can make his diamond body. The feeling of being cold. This cave is bound to have an acoustics pole. Look at the old woman sitting there. Most likely, I can't help but be startled. This old woman has been poisoned. The body is also stiff. But it's still possible to ban speech emitting. This is how high-level practice Vi can do. He suddenly makes a sound. I can't believe there's such a master for a long time. The word just ended. A scornful laughter suddenly arrived. That stupid boy is an activist. Ears can't hear, mouths can't speak. They can't move either. The old man did it. To hear the sound. Most definitely roll your eyes in the direction of the sound. I can only see the deepest part of the cave. There's an old woman sitting there with her legs crossed. Right now. Suddenly laughs softly at her peach. 6 is very low. It's just very risky. I didn't realize you were normal. Don't blame him. Peaches her aunt in mouth. He was a little bit mocking. The old man's head. I've never seen you protect a man like that. Unless you've shown him this guy. He ended his words a little red-faced and bowed his head. A kind of shy nod. But most likely standing there bewildered. I didn't understand their conversation at all. He could only see her face. I didn't see anything. Her body has never been seen either. Right now, they tend to see him bewildered and not understand. Then he pushed a jade. This person is the head monk of Holongda. Miss, come to the audience. Most likely, the doctor moved forward. At the same time, even more suspicious. What is it that is doing when he is still healing? Would want to practice knitting medicine with her Sao? With the knitting skills of this world, no one is qualified to do the knitting. But not too bad. Bless her again, no problem. But when you get closer, I saw the old woman's face and was immediately amazed. This is her. She's hit 7. Go ahead. See the expression of why. Peach her cougar lips up 1. The smile of a terrorist says, why do I threaten you? HOA women dance long. We're not all American women either. I tend to see this scene. Stop the jade. Don't lose. Make a mistake with Coco. But most probably there's no response. Thinking for a long time is not right. Even if the product is the same, it's not 7 of them. When you hear the words, you are amazed. The boy is not. It seems that you also have a little bit of a history of knitting. It really doesn't hide anything. This is not caused by the 7-year-old waste. It's when the old man is breaking the cure. Knitting practice that raw. Probably the most startled cry out. Are you practicing knitting or poisoning? Peaches her she doesn't notice. Laughing, a very good answer. Is it Danish or poisonous? The old man couldn't solve it either. Just 3 this year. The more I studied this method of knitting, the more it feels like knitting without knitting. It is also not poisonous. The king of medicine certainly has talent. He was really ashamed of himself for not being human. From the side she looked through, probably the most visible, hanging on the cliff a human skin. There is a note above. The antidote of 7 waste and so on. He just glanced at something that was wrong. These 7 types of materials, each of them is a precious geologic genius. As if this method of preparation is ultimately Danish or poisonous. It's also a mystery. He thought, and then he walked closer to the trigger man. Of course, she's been poisoned by 7 shellfish. New to raw as, so, just like the city. There are 7 types of poison in the body. Add more Bodhi jade translation carving. There's more support from this perennial ice bed. To protect the life. Only thing. The amount of poison in the body is small. But the venom of this activator is all over the body. If there's not a 1,000-year ice age freezing her body, well, she died a long time ago. The medicine on the skin, of course, has a trap. She sees the action of why. I think he was curious for a while. Give me a warning, young man. This knitting practice, that's the secret. It can't be transmitted outside of the pharmacy. He studied it a few times. Still can't understand the same. Even the boy. You have some level of skill. But I can understand the magic in it. First you came here today. It won't be the old man. Let this guy help you a little. You just finished. The man immediately shook his head in amazement. Take the whole thing recently. Tell the old woman. Of course her words just ended. The old woman was yelling something angrily. That's it. Even the emperor is involved in this. Sao. The old woman shuddered and wiped her tears. What are you going to do? I don't know if they will let them destroy it or not. The old woman's words are not over. The police have definitely interrupted me. I want to take a risk. Dead fish tearing their nets with them. 151 artists. 2 words artisan. Make sure the world is a little bit of a surprise. According to the long history, if you take down 7 rows, each house will raise an artist. Each one of us has a vision. It is the ultimate protective power of each family. Except in times of danger. By 07, Ra couldn't have invited Ra's artists. Can see. The long dance has really fallen into the last step. If not, they wouldn't even think about it. This last trump card. To face the master of the scenes. Even if you risk death, the emperor will also hurt his principles. So watch out. They want to slow down their war. Here. Think about here. Maybe the most stupid fool can speak up. Billions of them. Let's invite the artist. So they know that a skinny camel is bigger than a long dancing horse. We're not that bullies. The opposite of his joy. On the surface, there are only reluctant rays. She sighed and shook her head. If we invite the artist Ra, it will start a battle between the 7 nations. By that time the world was in chaos. The Holy Spirit in my heart cannot stand it. Even if the dance dissolved for a long time, billions have to break up. If once you start a war, long dance certainly 7 defeat. So you can think of the end of those billions. I am the owner of the house. I can't help but think about their future. She just finished. You can't help but scream for a few hours. I don't blame him for ignoring the objection at first. I will make you the master with the shallowest background. Now the old man finally understood it Sao. But most likely I heard her words. In my heart cannot help but secretly ridicule. It's a soft woman's heart. Think about enough sugar, even if it is such a force, turned into a 0 from light. Light falls into darkness. Everywhere indiscriminately massacred. Whether it's provocation or separation, you can make the world a mess. Then take the opportunity to strike back. No matter what the outcome, he will also take a risk. It's better than handcuffs. He is the kind of person who would rather help the world, not let the world help. The malevolence of magic. It's about stepping on someone else to the top. He lived 2 lives and was never a soft-hearted person. But unfortunately, the one who doesn't practice magic is a girl. So the heart is soft. It's obviously impossible to be as ruthless as he is. A long time. The city continues to mourn. There are more than 10 owners. He was also poisoned by the thief. So I'd like to invite you out. Protect the bodhicitta. Maybe you're actually going to have to use it in exchange for the cure. When you hear this, it's like hearing a joke. Laugh for 2 hours. You want me to fight that demon? You have to look at my current form. For breaking 7 of his slugs. That now makes people not raw people. The devil is not out. This little bit of me. He is qualified to fight him. Dig, you just finished. The city has come to your side. Come to the ear whispering loudly. After a while I understood the problem. I nodded my head and it turned out to be that. Now I understand. Why did you bring this boy here? End words. She turned to the surest side, the boy said. Come and pray with him. Most likely, standing on one side of the room, he was named. I wonder where the old man is. In the direction of digging she pointed. The worst of the world looks towards the commons. That's the old man in your mouth. But why do you want to kneel with Kier? What do they want to do? It's just a dead person. Even if you kneel on one knee, it doesn't matter. He said, go in front of the enemy. At the same time, he also comes to his knees next to him. So people worship at the same time. When you see this scene, you are pleased. Open your mouth and come over. Most likely suspicious or looking to the side. And I saw that the city also bowed down to me. He is a little confused. What the hell are they playing? While he was still in doubt, Peach Hershey went on her knees. On your knees again. The most likely person to hear this immediately gets angry. He had made him kneel before a dead activist. I want to kneel with an old woman. The road is the queen. They also deserve to be on their knees. And then he started screaming. Why did you kneel before? I didn't understand. Now you want me to kneel in front of this damned grandmother. I was inclined to hear a cold glance. Get on your knees. Take a look at her and look at the old lady. In my heart without stopping for 2 hours. Fuck. He is currently a jade. She also needs something in her hand. So many times fake corn. If you're not afraid of a long dance collapse. The Emperor successfully unified the 7 kingdoms. The path of the lost is blocked. Should I be working with them here? Thought then he definitely knelt down. If you kneel anyway. Kneeling is not the most magical thing in the world. He knelt in front of me. Her expression on her face TIA said seriously. Then I will explain the long dance to you. Listen carefully. Several hundred years ago, relationship between Ho Long and the King of Medicine. The 2 families are often married. The relationship must be very good. Just getting started. 7 Even the wicked are not as powerful as they are now. But after being provided by Ho Dance for a long time, slowly change. Eventually evolved. to become a martial arts master of 7 great families. For almost 100 years, the power of medicine began to turn around and harm the HOA for a long time. More than 8 of them died at their hands. Even 2 long lives because of that. Because King 7 needs them to provide knitting medicine. So close your eyes and open your eyes. Even a few times, a long dance is forced to the situation of the dead. But heaven is not perfect. In 100 years of crisis, the genius woman appeared again. The death of Big Quan. Her power is strong. Everything is very hard. He was not weak against the king. She is married on one side, with other nations expanding their power. The power of medicine 7 failed. The old man called her for 2 hours. Not a long-time owner, but she assistant be a long-time master. It's been dancing for a long time to this day. For this woman's trick. There's no one in the 7 worlds who doesn't admire you. Without her, the weapon has long since been destroyed. Even the king of medicine is very respectful. Unfortunately, until one day the army was assassinated. To save the 3 old masters, they're ambushed by poison. He was injured by 7 discharges. But she kept running back. Before death, have decided transfer the position of the master to the master. He was 13 years old. It will be 2 people, long stick HOA holder and long form holder support. There were a lot of disgruntled people. I don't care about the power of the old man. So I held down. After all, everyone thought she was dead. But actually was digging her. She held her breath. I finally stayed in the ice for 1,000 years. Become a commoner. After the communication is completed, she turned her eyes to the most evil. Boy, do you remember well? Even if you don't volunteer, but most likely, he still remembers. Peach her. She nods satisfied. Then take your hands. The most likely and most likely to put on top of each other. I'll let you pass it on later. As long as you remember the dance. It doesn't seem desperate. There won't be many days. Take care. When she finished digging, she turned her face into the wall. Want to send off guests. The 2 awake people also turned to leave. Step out of the skin. There is a big battle waiting for them. Just left. Most probably still don't understand what she wants to do. I wonder what happened to the billion-dollar department. At this point, I think, after thinking about it, he uncovers his face in front of him. Speak softly and remove 2 words. Billion to call us base or inclination. Addicted 150 to teenagers' genius bias. Most likely, you can touch your nose. Twinkling fascination to PCs. I don't understand her intentions. But right now, the way she looked at him was a little unusual. Smiling for an hour. You idiot, now you are a fool. I will take you to see my family. Then she held her strongest hand and pulled him away. 2 people go around the cliff. Straight to a lonely little rock lying there. It's inscribed on it with the words extraordinarily lonely. Most likely look in the direction she is standing. There are only 2 tombs with names. The other tomb has no name. Just a piece of cloak up. It's written for letters. Most of them are extremely arrogant. See these for words. Probably the most quietly exclaimed to ours. The air is also large. Probably the king of medicine. Sitting well looking at the sky. I would not dare to have such a voice. He is inclined to look at her smiling. It's 10 parts in the eye. Even you feel proud, don't you? This is a predisposed disciple of mine. I made this jacket for him with my own hands. Most likely a small nod. I heard her introduce. He knew the name of the tomb in front of him. This natural tendency. He is not a spy for how long. Sent to the pharmacy and serve as a subordinate of Strictly Tongue. I can't believe he's the younger brother of the dance master. Long base inclination. He sent his brother to do such a dangerous thing. A long dance is really talented by the numbers. No one can use it. But right now. Then he turned his head and looked at her again. The jade, do you know? Ever since you gave me fruit in that poor neighborhood and beat those guys instead, I felt that you were very similar to God. Especially when you're fighting hard. Don't risk anything cheap. It's really like the same raw cast with him. Speaking of which, she laughed softly for an hour. But in my eyes there was water. It's like remembering the old story. To hear her words. Probably a little embarrassed. Then she looks as if she is a slave. He said that Dong Thien Ba's courtship technique was effective. I think he was a little confused for 2 hours. It turns out that the department considers me to be your order. He was so angry that he glanced at her every 2 hours. Softly said, I didn't tell you to drop the 2 words. I forgot why. Maybe from the beginning I really thought you were my brother. But from now on, you are no longer my brother. My parents are all ordinary disciples of the dragon boat. Finally, they all died under the poison of medicine. So from a young age, we and our biases could have taken revenge. The old man saw that we were endowed with NT0. He personally taught. But even though Sao is a man, the effect of men in the dance is only one. It is to marry a disciple, lasting the fire of the flower for a long time. Extremely gifted in terms of knitting practice. I don't want to live a normal life. This tasteless man has long been a traitor. The village of the pharmacy. I am most likely surprised to hear this. Not that he's a spy. You can use 2 words, traitor. And then he nods casually. You said no wrong. But we didn't know then. I finally wrote a cease and desist letter. Straight to 3 years ago. He's been back for a long time, we'll know. Turns out it was all the old man's arrangement at first. And he's not on a mission. Bring the remedy, modulation, the antidote of 7 waste in the pharmacy. Because the psychopath is on strict watch. So he used medicine to engrave the medicine on him. Normally I don't look out. Only when using specific medicinal waters, they can show out. I can't help but feel a little startled in my heart. Can you say that the skin in the cave is yours? Your brother Sao. It's unbelievable. They risk their lives to this extent. To use the skin of the people who wrote raw Danish antidote. This task is too difficult. It's too risky. But this gives him a feeling. When they get home they get lost. We should also prepare the dead to be brought into the world. Prepare for the future. Later. There are 9 secrets. 6 will definitely be higher than the long dance. But this art is cruel. Not to fight, but to fight yourself.